This also, we'll take a look at this clip. I mean, the first thing that people pointed to when Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away on Rosh Hashanah of all times, was that there were, I believe, something like 17 senators, Republican senators, who had said specifically that we would not confirm a Supreme Court nominee during an election year. This was so that they could maintain some semblance of consistency with their dumb rule in the first place. Frankly, I think it's a stupid rule. You confirm as quickly as you can if you hold the Senate. And I mean, that's the president gets 4 years. This is their term. Even if you were to do it in the lame duck, you suffer the political consequences. However, the problem the Republicans have with this is that they disavowed that principle. Now, hypocrisy is probably one of the biggest losers in terms of politics that exist. I personally think it's silly. As to the extent that it works as political rhetoric, great, use it. In general, I don't think it does that much. The people who want these things done, they want these things done because they are seeking power. That said, if I was running against Cory Gardner or Cornyn or Cruz or Graham or Rubio, not all of these are up for re-election, incidentally, but some of them are. Graham is, Gardner is, Cornyn, Inhofe, Grassley, Ernst is up for re-election, Tillis is up for re-election, Perdue is up for re-election, Tim Scott, Johnson, Toomey, Burr, Blunt, Hoeven, Portman. A couple of these extras are up for re-election. I would certainly be going out and saying they said they would not support confirming a Supreme Court nominee during an election year. And here we are during an election year, not even 2 months away from the election. But people generally don't care about that, at least broadly speaking. In other words, it's not going to stop Lindsey Graham. Now, it may hurt his reelection chances, and that is a valuable thing. Make no mistake about it. But here is Lindsey Graham now he's saying this in a Senate Judiciary hearing in 2016. I want you to hear how explicit he is about saying that if there is a vacancy because he's trying to justify why they didn't even give Merrick Garland a hearing. But remember, and this is important because there's some dumb people out there who don't understand this. The Republicans controlled the Senate in 2016. They control the Senate now. That's an important thing to recall. They have the presidency now. They didn't have it in 2016. Here is Lindsey Graham in 2016.
This is the last year of a lame duck president. And if Ted Cruz or Donald Trump get to be president, they've all asked us not to confirm or take up a selection by President Obama. So if a vacancy occurs in their last year of their first term, guess what? You will use their words against them. I want you to use my words against me. If there's a Republican president in 2016 and a vacancy occurs in the last year of the first term, you can say, Lindsey Graham said, let's let the next president, whoever it might be, make that nomination, and you could use my words against me, and you'd be absolutely right. We're setting a precedent here today, Republicans are, that in the last year, at least of a lame duck 8-year term, I would say it's going to be a 4-year term, that you're not going to fill a vacancy of the Supreme Court based on what we're doing here today. That's going to be the new rule. When y'all change the rules about appellate judges and district court judges to get your way, I thought it was a really abuse of power. And what you have done here is you've made the caucuses, the Republican and Democratic caucuses, are now not
Okay,
going
I
to
don't
have to
need
reach across.
his moralizing after this. He wanted us to use the video and his words against him as you wish. But maybe he changed his mind. Let's go 2 years later, 2018. I believe this is October 3rd, 2018. October 3rd, 2018. October 3rd, 2018. An important date. An important date for you to remember. October 3rd, 2018. I'll explain after you hear him reiterate what he said.
October being after September.
Correct.
If an opening comes in the last year of President Trump's term and the primary process is started, we'll wait to the next election. And I've got a pretty good chance of being the judiciary.
You're on the record.
Yeah.
All right.
Hold the tape.
Hold the tape. You're on the record. You've got a pretty good chance of being the judiciary chairman. You are, in fact, now the judiciary chairman. That was October 2018. And I'll tell you why that's so important. Because here is Lindsey Graham tweeting out why he has now suddenly, but according to him, it's not sudden, changed his mind about all that. He has an excuse. Democrats chose to set in motion rules to stack the court at the circuit level, and they chose to try to destroy Brett Kavanaugh's life to keep the Supreme Court seat open. You reap what you sow. In other words, that's when he realized they're not playing by the rules, and therefore my comments on September in 2016, and then my comments reiterating in October 3rd of 2018 do not hold because of what we experienced with the Kavanaugh hearings. The problem is the Kavanaugh hearings were a month before he said that on October 3rd. The Kavanaugh hearings ended September 7th, 2018. And he reiterated on October 3rd. Now, what is the value of that? In the great scheme of things, in terms of seating this justice, very little. But if I'm Jamie Harrison and I'm running against Lindsey Graham, it's really just a question of, is Lindsey Graham a liar? Is he lying to the American public? Forget about the politics of this. He's a liar. That may be worth a couple of votes. And that's a close race. But Lindsey Graham is desperate. Tom Tillis is desperate. Cornyn is desperate to a certain extent. Cory Gardner is desperate. Susan Collins just couldn't get away with it. She got released by Mitch McConnell because McConnell probably believes that he has the votes or coming or very close to it. So we will talk later in the program about the narrow opportunity there is to prevent the Senate from holding hearings. There's very little opportunity. There is some opportunity to save the ACA. We will talk about why that is in jeopardy. There's a hearing the SCOTUS is set to review the ACA. Even if John Roberts switches sides, you're looking at a 4-4 tie. That has implications. It gets basically the circuit court ruling holds, but it's a little more complicated than that. But there's something Nancy Pelosi could do to avoid that as well. But she won't. We will talk about that later in the program. It's just a very sad and disastrous situation. There were many people who, starting in 2011, and look, it's unfortunate because we should be exclusively celebrating Ruth Bader Ginsburg. But the reality is, the implications for the living are greater than her legacy at this point. And sadly, her legacy, I think, is going to be marred by her decision to not resign in a way that was very safe for Obama to make a pick. And this goes for Breyer, too. I mean, there were calls for Breyer and Ginsburg's resignations as early as 2011. And then they were reiterated in early in 2013. And I'm talking by, legal commentators who were worried. People who were actually in the courts and seeing that as strong as Ruth Bader Ginsburg was perceived to be in popular culture, she was beginning to fall asleep during some cases, apparently. That's not the reason why you resign. And, it was perfect. She had a lifetime appointment. She could serve that out, and she did. It is unfortunate that we're spending this time worried about the future so immediately and so intensely and not able to spend the time sort of celebrating her life. But that was also part of her choice. That was also part of the calculation. There was a risk. Again, same with Breyer. They both, you look at like a guy like Anthony Kennedy who said, this is when my leverage is at a peak. I'm going to get my guy on the court and I'm going to step out. And now we are looking at, this is disastrous in multiple ways. 1/4, I think it was it 1/4 of Republicans in the Trump election? Their number one issue was that Supreme Court vacancy. So I wouldn't be surprised if Mitch McConnell waits till the lame duck, but who knows? It's really a function of how many votes he thinks he has. He will go for it if he thinks he can do it.